If you want to get lucky in life as a man, marry a working woman and keep her working.
What are the practical things we can do to just, be healthier?
There's a thing called HPA, habitual physical activity. It took 45 years to gain that 10-15 kgs of fat. You want to lose it in 3 months. We can't delegate our mobility to someone else. I think women largely are malnourished. So we have to learn to hunt for nutrition and gather exercise. I don't have the time for this.
Dr. Malhar, you've reversed obesity in thousands of women. So, हम 40 के बाद हमारा weight बढ़ता जाता है, बाकी everything goes down. So, what is happening?
I think there's a serious trigger in terms of the inflection point for women. तो वो suddenly बढ़ता है 40 के बाद. It's not so simple कि आपने कुछ किया बहुत अलग, वही खाना खा रहे, you're having the same typical dal, chawal, rice, roti and everything, and suddenly you notice, like a lot of women tell me, so I was till 35, and this may be after pregnancies also, your weight is somewhere near 70, 72, and out of nowhere it's become 85, 90. So one thing is a drastic shift in the metabolic rate because of muscle mass gets reduced, and I think the sedentary lifestyle also peaks at that time. You're kind of getting into more management positions slowly. There's a lot of field work which stops. So I think it's not just food. There's an environmental shift. So one is biological, which is your own hormones are shifting. Second is in terms of lifestyle, in terms of opportunity for exercise reduces. So busyness tends to increase. But it happens even in women who are at home, not just working women.
So what happens with them? Again, the movement is less.
I found women are excellent optimizers. They always look to optimize things around them. So they will find ways to delegate work. So at home, I see as affluence increases, we get more maids. And then slowly, like a lot of the cities I travel, the bungalow houses, women are just sitting, they don't get up too much. Earlier, what if the bell would ring, you would go open the door, just small things. Or you want to buy vegetables, you would go. Today, you're just ordering it online. Or if the bell rings, you tell the maid to open. These are small shifts.
Yeah.
It's not largely driven by any one gender, but even men in the office are the same. Earlier, they would get up and go, and especially in these slightly different, older world cities where, there's still more of a patriarchal culture. The women are still at home, men are still at work, but obesity is increasing on both fronts. It's just the ability to delegate, and convenience apps have just changed the game,
So Dr. Malhar, in an affluent setup, what are the practical things we can do to just be on our feet and, be healthier when our BMR goes down?
I think not trying to optimize exercise into that 1 hour in the day, which is to say, I just will go to the gym for 1 hour and I'm fine now.
So फिर क्या करें?
You have to learn to spread things. You have to be an opportunity seeker with physical activity. So there's a thing called HPA, habitual physical activity. How do you just increase its threshold in the day? One is this 10,000 step thing, which is one way. But again, just chasing the steps is not necessary. You can just be more reactive and more opportunistic. Just get up and go.
Give me some...
Like a lean person. Lean person, every time he gets he just gets up, walks around. It's instinctual. Like for me, if I'm doing a lot of calls after 1 or 2 hours, or a lot of consults, I'll get up and go down below my office and start walking, taking consults on a phone. Or Google Meet, I'll go take in a park somewhere. We have mobility options, but you shouldn't have to overthink it. I'm just saying this ability to delegate is one of the most powerful tools that we have in management, but there are certain tasks we shouldn't. Like we can't delegate our mobility to someone else. Like if you have a chance to have a Nimbu Pani, you can just sit at your desk and tell someone to get it, or you can get up and go and have it somewhere, or make it yourself. These are very small acts of movement, but you have to be very creative and go get it. Like otherwise, it's not going to happen now. Otherwise, that 45 minutes you'll go to the gym. And that's it.
Because everybody does. एक घंटे तो करते हैं उसके बाद भी. But I love that line ki don't delegate your movement. I think that's fantastic.
There's a famous joke I had in, there was one of the royal families, in they had come to a very affluent family. They'd come and met me, and the guy was 140 plus. I said, I think you're lacking a little exercise. Why don't you start going to the gym? And he said, oh, I've kept a man to go instead. I don't have the time for this, and it was hilarious, but He was joking, but he
Yeah.
just said, and he said it in a classic, मैंने आदमी रखा है, मेरे पास time नहीं है. He said, okay.
Wow. Dr. Malhar, I have been going to a lot of doctors and मैं उनको interview कर रही हूँ. So quite a few of them have moved to standing desks.
Yeah.
Do you have any opinion on it?
Yeah, I'm sure it works. Why not? Why not?
Is it like a good thing?
Of course, it's a good thing. There's no harm.
What about those walking treadmills soft ones?
Yeah. Latest is those movement walking desks. I see these are all stopgap measures. End of the day, our ancestors didn't have all this. They just moved a little more. Like I shot a reel yesterday where I called, we have to become the new hunter-gatherers now. Back then, our ancestors were. So we have to learn to hunt for nutrition and gather exercise.
That's
so more than
amazing.
exercise, activity. So you just become a little linear. Does this contain something of value to me in the food? And how do I gather a little activity in the day? Yeah, just gotta put it together. Yeah.
Super. Thank you. Okay, Dr. Malhar, women, I've seen that पूरे दिन soup and salad खाते रहते हैं, तो भी they are putting on weight and they are always fatigued. तो ये क्या हो रहा है nutrition के हिसाब से?
I think women largely are malnourished. They're just not nourished enough for a 80-90 kg body, and the bare bones are missing, like the B12, D3, calcium, iron. Or when you check all this, because of the periodic cycles also, every month, they do land up in deficiencies, which they don't realize. And women in general, being sacrificial, they won't check their blood reports. They'll just continue. Many of them are iron deficient, anemic, and when we see in the lab reports, we see drastic just nutritional deficiency, but we see tremendous weight gain.
Okay.
So that's an irony, because it's actually a paradox. You're eating more than enough calories, but you're nutritionally deficient. So there's just inherently a lot of food being eaten which is energy rich but non-nutritious. And to compensate, you go back to tasty non-calorie foods like soups and things like that.
Correct.
Which aren't containing any nutrition anyway.
So what is nutrition? What is good nutrition?
Nutrition is basically just getting back to the basics of, have I filled my bucket today? Have I got my sort of sensible amounts of carb, protein, fat, which is energy in different forms? And have I got a little A, B, C, D? I call it the A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, M, N, O, P. Just go through the entire thing. Take a multivitamin if you have to. But get a nutritionist consult as to a diet which you're having. Is it nutritionally secure? It need not be सर्वगुण संपन्न or something, but है क्या सब कुछ उसमें? थोड़ा पूछ तो लो, deficiency है तो वो 2 आइटम ले आओ ना. It's not rocket science.
Correct.
Stop trying to find the best source of magnesium. इतना सुपर फूड की जरूरत नहीं है. Green vegetables cover 90% stuff, but वो नहीं होता ना आजकल, बिकॉज बच्चे नहीं खाते. तो बच्चे नहीं खाते तो माँ बनाती, तो माँ भी नहीं खाती. So at the end of the day, we have to make it eat it ourselves only.
Oh my God, that's such a relevant point कि बच्चे नहीं खाते तो माँ बनाती नहीं है.
और जो बच्चे खाते हैं वो उनके ग्रोथ के लिए है. जो हम खाएंगे तो हमारा ग्रोथ तो वर्टिकल तो होने वाला है नहीं. तो ये एक्स एक्सिस में होने वाला है. एंड ऑफ द डे हम वो
Oh my God, so women just cook for your own self. You're so right.
Get it cooked. Again, these are delegation things now.
Okay, so get it cooked.
Yeah, but get it cooked. See, in my house, 90% of the food is cooked by help. But we know that if she cooks it and between, if my wife steps in, there's a little difference in the class, and that little, whether it will be eaten or not depends on whether my wife puts the tadka. But we know that salt, oil and sugar are the primary damaging elements. We don't let our mate put those 3, which is why everyone in my house is relatively fit. Because when they add it in a different way. They are catering to larger families on lower budgets. So they tend to eat lesser volume of food, but the energy density has to be more. So वो oil, salt, sugar ज़्यादा डाल, उनको palatability index बढ़ाना है in that kind of volume to feed 6 people. And they cook in very little time. In our house, there is the luxury of time.
Oh yeah, so you can saute it in lesser oil.
You can do all your things. You can add 10 other flavoring agents if you have to. From peri peri powder to whatever, because we have all the gorgonzola sauces of the world. We don't need to worry about, that. But I'm just saying salt, oil, sugar has to. These are the primary triggers, SOS
Lovely.
as it's called.
Lovely. Thank you. So Dr. Malhar, you've reversed obesity in thousands of women. So I want to ask you, how do we know we are protein deficient?
I think first of all, you're overall nutrition deficient. If your energy levels are low, you know that you're lacking multiple nutrients, not just protein.
So energy levels low.
Yes, just not feeling energetic, like
Okay.
waking up feeling drowsy,
Okay.
and not getting sleep is another huge indicator. First one, like most women I know, when they join the program, they just say we don't sleep more than 4 hours. So loss of sleep again could be a huge indicator of deficiencies. You get
Not just protein, but other vitamins.
everything. You're just overall deficient. Body doesn't work in silos like that. So we have to, end of the day, symptoms will be similar. Yeah, of course, like B12 and all, you'll have tingling, numbness, but then we're getting too diagnostic about it. At the end of the day, protein is a loss of shape. So when you start exercising a little bit and you get enough protein, the body immediately goes into shape. So the muscle requires protein to tone up. If you're exercising, which is walking for hours, but not having enough protein, you're going and having a carb-rich diet, then you'll become like a herbivorous animal. But a carnivorous animal does the same amount of walking, but it's far more protein. You see their tone. It's just, you look at the animal kingdom.
Correct.
Nobody's telling herbivorous animals to start eating protein, but you see a horse. He gets 25% from chana, and you see the radical difference in the horse. A cow doesn't have that little protein. That's all. And no animal drinks milk. So the end of the day, it's all coming from some specific source.
Yeah.
So actually the herbivorous animal makes up in volume. They eat 40-50 kgs of the grass and everything, where they get their protein eventually.
Got it.
But the carnivore goes straight to the the macronutrients. So women can get targeted with their nutrition.
So you told me loss of sleep, you told me less energy. Any other sign that
change of body shape over a period of time? Change of body shape is not overnight. It takes 3 to 6 years to change.
So middle shape.
Yeah. So stomach, a lot of storage will happen, energy storage. So when we start eating large volume to compensate for lack of protein, like you eat a lot of rice, you eat a lot of dal. So that energy food keeps rising the calorie, and then you'll keep increasing. So thighs, for women, it's typically more in the lower body. So buttocks, hips, thighs tend to flare up. And of course, abdomen is a stretch, but that is mostly linked, pregnancy linked.
So it's buttocks and thighs.
Yeah, women are lower body heavy, men are upper body.
This is what you've seen in your...
Yeah, most 90% of the time. 90% of the time. Most women do get lower body obesity.
So loss of shape.
Yeah, loss of shape is the most critical sign of, but that's also a sign of deficiency in exercise, not just diet.
Yeah, correct.
You could train a lot, eat a relatively lowish protein diet, 20-30 grams, and still pull it off if you had the genetics for it. But most women in general are just compensating lack of protein with excess
carb-rich food.
They're getting the protein, but they're getting it at the back of a lot of carbs, like dal types.
Got it. So, Dr. Malhar, for vegetarians, what is a good source of protein? Protein kahan se laye? Agar hame supplements nahi lene hain to?
Then it's going to get complex, because see, our grandparents weighed 50-60 kgs, okay, and that too right up to their old age.
Yeah.
For our generation, somewhere close to the 30s, 40s only, we started weighing 75-80 kgs, and the next generation is already 100. And when we look at the protein mapping, it's still 30 grams.
So
मैं दाल और 4 बादाम ही खाऊंगा. It's not going to work. Now, soya, paneer, tofu will have to come in at least in one of the meals.
Okay.
Then if they eat eggs, nothing like it, because that's a life savior in that sense. Otherwise, the avocados of the world, and then it's just complex, like, kahan se aayega? And then dry fruits is a huge contributor. But again, these are all calorie rich.
Yeah.
And then dal is, of course, lentils are there. The purists will say, so what? Let me have the lentils. But see, again, we're putting the cart before the horse. If you have a genetic predisposition for anything like diabetes or cholesterol or obesity, if you keep having energy-rich protein sources, which are loaded with carbs or fats.
Like nuts.
Nuts are loaded with fats, but they'll say healthy fat, but it's still adding to your calorie bill, which is why your grandmother gave you 5 badam. She didn't tell you 20 badam khao. Yeah, protein shake mein bhi itna badam dalo. That's okay when you start working out.
Correct.
For existential nutrition, you can't load so much energy at the back of your proteins. Where do you get clean 50-60 grams from? It's difficult as a vegetarian. So you get stuck at 40.
So what do you recommend?
That's why I recommend once you take a 40-year-old versus a 22-year-old. A 22-year-old will very efficiently wick the protein from the dal and manage, because the metabolic rate being so high, they'll burn off the excess carb. But a
Wait, are you
40-year-old can't
saying-
do that.
Are you saying if I have the same amount of protein as a 20-year-old, my body will not be able to process it or
From the
synthesize?
same source.
Oh.
Because the ability to be that narrow with discerning just the value from that food has gone as you got older. You're more sensitive to the energy rich part of it now. You will
So then we
gain
have to
weight.
keep changing our protein
No,
sources.
you have to go to leaner sources. You have to divide these buckets. Energy is energy, protein is protein, micronutrients are micronutrients. You
Achha.
got to get all three in a precise way.
Okay.
Just cover the bases in a day. Don't get too complex about it.
Okay. So best to see a
Always better to consult professionals. See, YouTube helps, but my favorite suggestion, ask the right question, which is, I am a Marwadi, I am a South Indian, I am a Bengali, I am a Maharashtrian. Where are you from? What is your authentic maternal source or grandparents? Or what have you grown up eating? Within that, how do I construct a 60-80 gram diet?
Wow. That's fantastic.
I always believe, like, I like what Ruchita Divekar says for that point. She says, go back to your native foods. It's true. But who's going to answer that question? AI will help you. You can also do a little chat GPT there. But you should add one more question. Ki, within Maharashtrian foods, how can I construct a 60 gram protein diet? But energy light sources.
Energy light sources.
Energy light sources. I don't want the calorie bill to rise.
Got it.
You know?
Yeah. Thank you. Dr. Malhar, obesity and hair loss, कुछ connection है?
Hair loss is malnourishment. Okay?
किस चीज का?
Basically, protein malnourishment again is one sign of hair loss does happen. Even see, when you're vitamin deficient, when you're just lacking nutrition, your skin will start to sag, you'll see the darkening, you'll see all these signs. And hair fall is always there. We see a lot of hair fall in our programs.
So what are they mostly deficit in?
They're lacking calorie intake.
Calorie intake?
That's the irony of obesity. That's the irony of obesity. So when we cause weight loss in obese people, the body first loses hair because it wants to protect the vital organs more than the hair. So what it does is, we don't need this. So this is vanity. Let's get rid of it. So it protects it prefers more vital organs.
So then not to worry, if you're on a weight loss
you will lose
program,
you lose people say clumps of hair, in fact. But then it all comes back once you put... See, there's a thing called hypocaloric, there is hypercaloric, and there is equicaloric.
Correct.
So equi is what you flourish at. Hypo is what you...
क्योंकि आपने hypo किया है उनको.
You've done it. You've gone below your BMR.
So how do you manage your clients when they come and they're... आप क्या कहते हो उनको?
We give them the folly hairs of the world. We give them a few supplements. It's okay. They lose a little less hair, but they are aware of it. It's worth the fat loss.
Absolutely.
The health benefits of fat loss are worth much more than losing a few clumps of hair. It's not a big deal, you know.
Dr. Malhar, men में सबसे ज़्यादा क्या issues होते हैं? Body, food, nutrition को लेकर.
I think men have this classic Dunning-Kruger effect, which is, if I am successful in one area of my life, by default I am successful everywhere else. I may not know anything else about anything. मैं करता कुछ नहीं, पर मैं जानता हूँ, मैं पढ़ लूंगा, मैं कर लूंगा, मैं 4 कंसल्टेंट रख लूंगा, जब मुझे करना है तब. तो अभी मुझे मत बताओ. Women that way are, you know, more like they have to put it all together. Till then they won't start. Like, you know, like when I say, when I go to the gym, only I go to the gym. When my wife goes to the gym, in her head there are 16 more people in the gym with her. She's thinking about everyone. You know, has the maid come? Has her mom doing? What's the kid got up? Like everything. I'm in the gym, I'm zoned out. It's just how we are. It's a gender difference. But I think men, while they are very linear, they can have blind spots, which are terrific blind spots.
Tell me some blind spots.
That health is a huge blind spot. For those it just is. Women try to optimize health, which is, I will do this on a Thursday at this time with that group. Until all the stars don't align, I will not do it. Also, women hesitate to do it solo.
And men don't have that.
Men love doing that solo because it's their leisure time, it's their time. Or they'll take 2 buddies and go. You know, I have seen women hesitate to do cardio. 90% women just don't do cardio to save their life. They'll walk, but walk is not real cardio. I mean cardio as an exercise. What is
cardio
real cardio? When you're performance cardio, where you're running, you know, swimming, cycling, going up hills, they just won't do it. They'll not put cardio to a clock. They will do it kitna baki hai, and the other clock.
God.
Men are like, okay, 10K under 1 hour, that performance mindset. Women don't do that in cardio. In fact, I've seen most women don't measure their exercise. It's a formality. It has to be ticked twice a week. They'll do it. And if the friends are there, it's the best. But I agree with that. I got nothing against that. The social bit, it reduces your cortisol. You're stress-free. You're loving it. But at some point, if you want results, you have to become performance-driven. Like, how much weight are you lifting? How many sets are you doing? You got to get a little detail-oriented. Men that way can really get into the thick of it. With men, the problem is getting into a gym.
So what makes a man get into a gym? Is it when they are going for their insurance and they get their blood report? What actually gets them to you?
That would be the scare. Men do get scared when finally things go wrong. When something tips the health cart, then yeah. But men are very strong decision makers at that point. They will seek solutions. They'll ask objective questions. They get into it. Like,
they can't afford.
They are very cautious. They're that way. But again, when they take it up linearly. They'll compartmentalize it. They'll take the medicines on time and all. But women in general, will listen to all of it, but they tend to procrastinate it. Not true. Now.
That's true.
Like my kid's in 12th. I'll come back in 6 months. And obesity anyway is not an emergency of any kind. Kuch hone wala hai
It
nahi.
is.
And most of the time it isn't also. It just carries on and limits quality of life. You just don't know who you could have been. Had you spent 2 years doing what no one's willing to do. You just don't know who you could have been, what you could have done. Like, I've taken hundreds of women up the Himalayas and you should see their face on that mountain. They're like, ye bhi hota hai kya? And you should just, it's like, hum kya kar rahe the 40 saal se, pata nahi. Like, because women and men are both raised last 3 generations very similar. The pressure of academics, the pressure of settling down, finding a job, earning, maybe paying back to the parents, buying a house, EMIs, everything is equal. It's just that women land up with a break now because of that bio break, which is, say, 10 years in the middle. That causes them to set back. And then they want to come back with a vengeance. I have to catch up 10 years of career. You're always catching up only. And what takes a beating is?
The hell.
I'm just saying it's nobody's fault. It's purely a couple of generations where we will start to realize that women also have nothing to prove. The men are kind of done with that now, slowly. Unless there is responsibilities on men where genuine, financial, I understand. But most men, we are starting to follow the Kiwi, Aussie, the European cultures now slowly. You are seeing more and men leaving the race at younger ages, like 40, 45, 50. Because they just realize it's not worth it.
Dr. Malhar, you just said that women eventually will realize they have nothing to prove.
Yeah, but
is it something that you tell your clients, women clients?
Yeah, because when they come into the field of reversal also, they come with that same level of linearity of results, the KRA approach which they bring from the corporate. कि ये मेरे लाइफ में गलत हुआ, इसको अभी ठीक करना है और ठीक करके दो 3 महीने में.
क्या प्रॉब्लम है?
बंदूक वजन कम करना है.
हाँ.
It took 45 years to gain that 10-15 kgs of fat. You want to lose it in 3 months. Why? Because you have fit it in some science journal, you have read it कि अभी ये 4 supplement खाने से, ये 2 चीज कम खाने से और सुबह शाम चलने से ये कम हो जाए. It doesn't work like that. Anti-aging is not so simple. It's been 40 years of struggle. You have to just settle down. You haven't paid attention to the body for 40 years. Now just sit down and pay attention to it. Give it its due, for 2 years. Nourish it, take it to the gym, worship it, meditate करो उसके साथ, सब शांत हो जाते हैं. Insulin, leptin and cortisol. These are the magic 3 hormones that you have to bring under control. The minute you do that, and so many thousands of women, and then the last one is of course serotonin and oxytocin, where serotonin is the one that elevates your existence, makes you happy. That's the well-being hormone. And finally you have oxytocin, which is self-love. How long will you seek validation from others? First it's a boss, then it's a husband, then it's blah blah. So that stuff has to stop. I'm just saying this proving. Yeah, I'm very lucky. All the women in my house are very strong. I have stuck proving myself. they don't have to prove anything. They're beyond proving. But the best part is they've created that culture. I remember when I was in 36, I was doing these Ironman races and I just kept training all the time. I was doing it with the point to prove only to myself. But at some point when I was 36, 37, I still wasn't doing any intense, serious work. And my wife one day came and said, what is all this in aid of? Get up at 6, you run 10K, you come back, you have this giant breakfast, then you're just sleepy all day, then you'll go at 12 o'clock, you'll bike for 1 hour, then you'll come back, then after gym, then you'll go and swim. Like, what is all this in aid of? So I said, I'm finding myself. So she said, okay, how many more years you've been finding yourself? So I said, it's only been 4 years. It's a 100-year life. She said, get off your ass and find some work now. I was like, okay.
उस वक्त घर कौन चला रहा था?
Oh, that whole little wisdom in the 20s took care of that. But, you know, my wife comes from business family. So she was always good at resource allocation. Whenever money would be earned, it would be wisely allocated. So it was never spent. So that way I'm very lucky. I always listen to them also. But my dad gave me some silly piece of advice when I was young, and that changed my life. Like me, he also was married to a doctor. He said, if you want to get lucky in life as a man, marry a working woman and keep her working. You don't have to worry about anything. Yeah. So yeah, no, but for me, she's one of those very driven, very sorted people. But I drive her to the gym a couple of days a week. I'm like, come on, you know. So we try to create that culture. Now with my daughters also, we're trying. It's not easy. This generation has it rough, you know. So there's a lot of pressure. Again, the academic pressures, the settling down pressures, finding yourself pressures. Ye sab to hai hi.
Correct. Dr. Malhar, 1 gram per kg body weight, 1.5, 1.6. What is the good protein to body weight ratio?
ये per body weight type hai. There are 3 body types, right? There's lean, there's a medium mesomorphic type like ours, and then there's a obese body type, where the fat percent is more than 50 kgs or 40 kgs. You can't map it by saying, abhi ye 100 kilo ka insaan hai, wo 100 gram protein khayega.
Okay.
That's crazy. That protein will convert to fat only at the end of the day. So you can't use protein as a satiety tool. Protein is meant to nourish the fat-free mass. So you minus your fat percent. So if your BMI is 25, 25 approximately, let's for argument's sake, you're fit, so fat percent is 25.
Yeah.
You minus that 25% from your weight. So if you weigh 50 kgs, 15 to 25% is whatever.
37.5.
Yeah. So you remove that. You need 37.5 existential at baseline.
And then?
Now you add another 0.2 if you're exercising, because your turnover will increase.
Okay.
Then you add another 0.2 if you have a medical condition which restricts one of the other 2 nutrients. Protein.
Okay, so 0.2, every time we keep adding 0.2. Okay.
So you will reach up to 1. You'll reach up to 1.2. You'll reach up to 1.4. So you're responding to situations. It's not blanket for 7 billion people कि सबको 1.2 gram, सबको 1 gram.
मतलब profession, we have to show to a profession.
Medically, we say 0.8 is enough, or 1 gram for lean body mass.
Got it.
But for that your lean body mass has to first be rational by reducing the fat. तुम किसको map कर रहे हो? Yesterday I was talking to a kid who's in the US. He's about 110 kgs. He's having 200 grams of protein because he read online कि ये 200 gram protein खाने से जल्दी weight loss होगा. Heavy जाके lifting कर रहा है. So I just said,
इससे तो वो keto acidosis नहीं होगी?
नहीं, वो creatinine बढ़ता है, but why? I'm just saying, why are you putting all this unnecessary pressure on one nutrient? Basically, protein is very tasty. All protein sources are essentially tasty. So you just love having them. Things like
not
paneer.
As tasty as carbs.
No, protein can be very tasty. For the non-veg world, protein is crazy.
Yeah, so, of course.
In the veg world, of course, it will not map the carbs, but it's still very good.
So don't go crazy on protein.
I think any woman can be happy with 50 grams a day. If she starts working out, she should increase it to 60. Okay. If she has a medical condition, she can go to 70, 75. So there's no harm. But where to get it from? You spread it across the meals. Each meal you can have 20.
Achha, so spread it through the day.
It's always good to have 20 through the meals, and supplemental protein can always be added at some point if you need more. 20 might be tough because protein is very high on satiety. So when you have 20 grams of protein, you pretty much won't eat anything else. So
Dr. Malhar, suppose somebody has a very heavy dinner. Would you recommend taking a protein powder 3-4 hours before? Again,
I don't like these tricks. Satiety should be meal specific. Your
Achha,
leptin,
satiety has to
yes,
come from it.
it has to be meal specific. See, your body is inbuilt to tell you when you've eaten enough. You are toying with all its homeostatic mechanisms because you have a certain vision for a mirror. And you're basically not willing to discipline yourself. Ki, let the body do its job. Abhi, we'll sit to eat rotis right now. Whether I'm a diet or not, whether it's butter chicken or not, I'll have 2 rotis and stop. Because my feedback mechanism says 2 rotis is enough. If I've run a marathon and come, I'll eat 4 rotis. It's natural.
The body will tell you.
It is situational. But you are toying with all that by saying, I'll have a protein before and go there so that I don't eat more roti. Come on. I'm just saying, trust yourself a little more.
Yeah. And be disciplined a little.
Discipline is, see, the butter chicken is what it is. It is tasty. Can you add salad to it and have it instead of adding the roti to it? You have to be creative, because you want to justify more butter chicken at the end of the day.
So, Dr. Malhar, menopause belly. Why and how can we manage it?
So that was interesting. I was doing a lot of research in the last few months because I have a lot of women who say that after 6 months they've lost 10-15 kgs of weight. They're looking much lighter, but the belly is not going. So there are things called the round ligaments in a woman's abdomen, okay, which kind of get stretched during pregnancy, and they're stretched to accommodate the uterus, and they don't go back to their natural length because they're like rubber bands who have got stretched.
Ooh.
Yeah, so they tend to remain like that. And unfortunately, this also happens in excess levels of obesity, where women go above 40 BMI. Again, it just doesn't come back. So you can tone the muscles of the stomach. The abs can be toned up. So I was doing a lot of research that, so what exercise should women do? So one is mobilization-based exercise, where you do abs, you lift weights. These are called isokinetic, where you're producing a lot of force, like going to a gym and all. These are great. They help you gain strength. But unfortunately, they also increase hunger a lot. For helping something like the abs, things like planks, pilates, stability work like yoga, which is not stressful for the muscle. It doesn't require a lot of energy expenditure. At the same time, reduces a lot of cortisol. The stress levels go down and very peaceful. I think that are more beneficial for women from an abdominal reduction point of view. Rather than bashing the whole thing up, because women basically don't have enough growth hormone and testosterone the way we do. If I just pump and my wife pumps, she's not really going to show the drastic change. So I think especially 48 to 52, working on joint stability, working on cortisol reduction in all forms, not linearly in exercise.
Got it.
Okay, so whatever areas of life, if you want to de-stress, especially women, I talk to have a lot of unresolved career ambitions that didn't work out, a lot of relationship crises that may have happened, whatever.
So that spikes the cortisol.
Yes. So any stressful situation, you're primarily secreting a lot of cortisol. So that high levels will keep bringing fat into the system. And
high level of cortisol brings fat into...
is a fat releaser, this glucose releaser into the blood, which then gets converted into fat again. So it's just a cycle. End of the day, that's the problem with cortisol. It's a stress response. So we secrete glucose into the blood and we keep spiking the glucose. More insulin, more storage. So again, nothing wrong temporarily. If it's a fight or flight response, it's okay. Like a cop's waving you down at a signal, you will secrete a little. But that's very momentary. But if you're constantly thinking about the past and
is this what you see in your clients, women clients, like an elevated level of cortisol through the day?
Terrific levels of elevation. And I see it with career fatigue also at 40. So there are women who are intensely saturated with what they do and happy. There are those who haven't experienced intellectual career saturation who are also frustrated. So there's both ends.
दोनों में हो रहा है.
दोनों में होता है. So, and then there are the sort of, I call the genetic lottery people who just live in the middle, who are just sorted. If they get it, they get it. If they don't get it, they don't get it. They're those very happy-go-lucky types. Like, हो रहा है काम तो करो, नहीं मिल रहा है काम तो कुछ और करो. They're like that. The free will who just live for the day. But I think 90% are, those are outliers now. 10%. I think our grandparents had lower expectations. We have all been raised to have terrific expectations. So we are not willing to settle, So we want it all. But I think that health is going to have to prioritize. I think women must not optimize exercise if they have to be successful. You can't put it in silos of Thursday evening and Monday morning. Because if you miss those days, then you missed it. I think that gathering it through the day has to be the new thing.
You know about that term, right? Exercise snacks.
No.
Oh, so that's a very interesting term where you get your, 3 minutes, 4 minutes of exercise.
Yeah.
So like do 10 squats or just climb 2 floors every 1.5, 2 hours.
Exactly. Something like that.
Yeah,
just use every opportunity to move. But it again, I'm coming back to it. It has to be instinctual.
I know, when your body wants it.
It can't be so much thought. Exercise can't be decision driven.
But देखिए डॉक्टर मल्हार, हमें तो पता ही नहीं है ना कि हम we are not even listening to our body. So if the body is asking us to move, we probably not even listening to the bodies.
It has to give you a source of joy. See, those of us who have been athletic, and still love it despite injuries and everything, is because we have come to love that part of life. It's a serious source of joy. It's not some transactional element which we get social validation or where kuch nahi hai. You have to come. And you see so many women I see in my gym, they've come to love what they do now.
Wow.
Initially it's the compliments, initially it's the discipline. Later on it just becomes normal.
Yeah, it's like So Dr. Malhar, and all these women clients who come to you, have they taken up sports beyond 45, 50? What kind and what have they enjoyed?
Most of them love going up hills, I've seen. Love the solitude. They blend their spiritual, they listen to their podcast, their gurus, and they go up the hills and they're in a zone. They love that stuff.
So trekking.
Hiking is one, even small hills in their area. Many of them take up running, slow running. It may be 5K, 10K, 21K. And they love, initially it's all about the medals. So they love doing that. I've seen a few take up swimming. Many play paddle ball nowadays. Whatever suits you. But I insist on two things: gym and stability. So gym is non-negotiable 2 days a week. They have to go 2 days.
So you mean strength training?
Strength training.
And stability is yoga,
Pilates, yoga, something. So one stability, one strength. The other days are for cardio pursuits. They can do whatever they like. And I'm happy to see that pull, because cardio has a terrific cardio doesn't require discipline. It's free play. So once you get addicted to a cardio, you're not going to go back, because the endorphin release there is better than
the joy,
other two. That's the joy. So the pleasure.
Great.
That's what we sell to women. In the 7th, 8th month, you must become some form of athlete. So every woman has an AI, an athlete identity. So she must find it. Otherwise, you'll always be talking about weight. Like a Serena Williams, she has been 100 kgs pregnancy time. She has been, athletic times also. In off season, you see her pics. She gains 15 kgs of weight. When she's in season, she's back to the fighting 75. So weight doesn't matter. What matters is, what sport are you going to play?
Yeah. So after 6 months of trying to eat healthy, exercise, AI pe jao, athletic.
I think pehle is spiritual identity, which is a deeper search in women. So I think after 6 months, you must thoda sa get into. So the 4 identities I look at. So from a diet perspective, one is your dietary identity, which is from a nutrition perspective. What is your go-to for snacks? How do you clean all this up? Correct. Like you can have a cappuccino, you can have an espresso. How do you just clean it up? No, but I have green tea, I don't have espresso. Okay, that's your thing. Or I have soup. Okay. Choose your stimulant, choose your suppressant. That's your choice. So I call that the fasting identity. Which is what is your choice of appetite suppressant. Second is what is your choice of stimulants. So these are all parts of your dietary identity. And then where do you get your protein from?
Dietary identity.
These 2, 3. Where do you get your micronutrients from? Just go solve all this. See, any AI tool, you can just type it in and play with it. And after this, you must get a little bit with the spiritual identity. Like if all of us have some spiritual capital, where do you want to deploy it? So and there's so many people doling out that kind of stuff. So go figure out what aligns with you. Some form of slowing down. Maybe sitting in a coffee shop, maybe playing a musical instrument is spiritual to you.
Correct.
Whatever it is, go do it. And then we have the athlete identity, because the body needs to know who you're trying to be.
Wow.
You get up every day eating 2000 calories and telling yourself,
wow,
I want to do something. Okay, what do you want to do? It's like work. You've studied all these skills you've learned, you've acquired some qualifications. Okay, but what do you want to do? So that what do you want to do part, the mind has to narrow its
Correct.
It's
Wow.
focus, right? So I think even physically, if you narrow it down, saying, okay, I'll go to the gym, I'll do a little yoga. That's your start. But करना क्या है भाई ये सब करके? So you tell it, I want to do 108 Surya Namaskars, or I want to go to the Himalayas next year.
Exactly. The way you said that, the joy on the faces of those women who climb.
And then the accomplishment is part of the achievement, where you set a goal, but then your life pivots. You don't go back to being that, sort of couch fearing, snack fearing, namkeen fearing person, and sweet, raat ko main meetha khata hu. All that will go away because your vision for the body changes. But it takes time. I think I always tell women, take a year or two to have a broader vision for your body.
So my AI is doing a full pull-up. एक साल तो हो गए हैं, अभी तो बहुत.
That's not an AI, that's a goal. AI is when you have your body is all it's an aligned, like I'm a triathlete, I'm a swimmer, cyclist, runner. That is an identity. You have to have a context to it.
Got it.
Yeah, it has to be a sport or a pursuit of excellence in that particular domain.
Like a marathon runner.
Something.
Okay.
Something.
Got
it has to be preferably something that you can indulge in for hours.
Lovely.
So a pull-up's over in 10 seconds. Then what do you do?
चलिए गोल बना देंगे AI से, क्या है? Thank you, Dr. Malhar.
Awesome.
It's been fantastic.
Cool. Thanks.
Yeah.
Cool. Yes.